What's up, everyone? Welcome back to this week's Forex weekly forecast, guys. I do want to appreciate all of you guys for joining back in this week for volume 6. Don't forget, as always, guys, to like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest market forecast. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive on into this week's forecast. I'm a little bit under the weather here. I have a little cold, so I do a little coughing, guys. Excuse me, okay? So there's a couple of pairs I'm looking at right now. Something that really interests me is going to be USDCHF, USDCAD. Right now we are looking at EURJPY. We've already taken a position and taken some profit around 74 pips on that trade. Potentially it's making a pullback and we might look for another entry for a continuation back down. We do have some major news this week. We have FOMC, so I do want all of you guys to definitely be aware of that and not getting caught out, in any bad side of the news. So definitely make sure you're aware of the news that's coming tomorrow. Make sure you're trading safely. But with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump right into USDCAD. So pretty much since last week, guys, I posted a setup for our public and premium members for USDCAD. So we're looking for this retracement to the upside into that weekly resistance area at 1.34 thousand. And we were looking to see how price was going to react around this range and potentially look for a reversal back to the downside. So I let you guys know that we were looking for maybe one more spike a little bit higher and then a move to the downside, but we weren't looking to actually catch that entry at the high. We were looking for price to break back below that weekly resistance at 1.34 thousand and then look for potential sell trades. So price has broken back below that support there, and I have taken a personal position for a sell. And we're looking right now around 30 pips up in profit. So pretty good trade so far with the stop loss just a little bit above the high. Depending on how price reacts tomorrow and how things look, I might extend the stop loss back up to where I wanted the original setup to be. That's just a personal preference because I would be a little bit more comfortable and just want to make sure I don't get caught out in any wicks. But I don't think it's going to come back up. Reason being is because of how the daily time frame is looking on this pair. I'll show you guys. So our daily candle that just closed was pretty nice. And so right now our following daily candle is giving that bearish continuation sign. So you guys can see we closed as that bearish engulfing here. Following before that, we got a spinning top at that weekly resistance level. So definitely getting some respect around this level. And then that bearish engulfing to close back below that 50 EMA here. And we can see today's daily candle so far is definitely giving us a sign of potential continuation as far as the bears immediately coming into the market. So we'll see how this pair turns out. Me personally, I'm still looking for these sales. I am in this pair. If it does close below 1.33400, I will go ahead and move my stop loss to entry and just let it do its thing. Hopefully it gets to that area before the news tomorrow, even though I might still, it just depends on where price is. If price is down here, I'll more than likely move my stop loss to entry because that gives me at least somewhere, I would assume at least a 50 pip. Yeah, about a 60 pip wiggle room for any potential, false wicks to the upside and then the continuation down for tomorrow's FOMC. But that's what I'm looking at on USDCAD, guys, looking for a continuation down to the downside to actually form some new lows. Okay. If you're looking for targets, I would use price action targets on this pair. And actually the first target would be this support area here around that 1.33450. The second target I would actually aim for is just right before this daily support here. I probably would choose this range here, guys. Just as a good price action target. We can definitely see that this is going to be a nice region here. So I would choose this as potentially take profit too. And depending on how you're looking at this pair, if you're more so long-term vision on this trade, then take profit 3 would be at that extension level as price forming that new low. And again, guys, we're also rejecting in this area off of a daily TL as well, which is around this range. So a lot of confluence here on USDCAD. So keep an eye on this pair for further continuation to the downside. Next pair that we'll go over is kind of really my fave for the remainder of the week. We definitely came in this week strong with EURGBP. I've already taken profit on that pair for about 74 pips. So I'm not looking for too much more this week personally. I am looking to personally take some trades on USDCHF. I'm looking for price to give us one more pop in this range right before that 200 EMA. Looking to take some sales here. We are exhausted currently, so I'm looking for just a little bit more exhaustion and also a rejection off of our TL. We also have a potential Gartley pattern showing itself. Now, with the Gartley pattern, be mindful that this pattern typically comes to the 78.6 region. So me personally, I'm just going for anywhere in this bubble, okay? So I don't miss this trade. So I'm going for a little bit before that to make sure I'm locked in. I don't expect price to achieve higher than that 1.00650 level, seeing that that's going to be pretty close to this previous high. And I don't want to see price making any higher highs. I want to see it continue to make lower highs and lower lows, as you can see. So I would expect price to overall respect this region and then give us that rejection for the continuation to the downside on USDCHF. So again, this is one of the main pairs I'm looking at for the remainder of the week. So my eyes are definitely on this pair, okay? EURGBP. So this pair here, right now we're definitely at some weekly highs, okay? We've also reached a weekly counter trend line as well. So this is our third retest to this trend line. So we'll see how things go, this trend line here. We'll see how things go in this range. We're also forming a rising wedge with some divergence, and we're also seeing exhaustion on price. So these are a lot of good confluences. I've given my team an update throughout this week, letting them know that we're actually waiting for this pair to break out of this counter trend line for the rising wedge and break below this support before we look to sell. So you guys can see, watch for the break of the counter trend line and the support to sell this pair. So just a little bit more to go. We got that fourth retest to the high here. You guys can see retest 1, 2, 3, 4 to the high, just to give us a false break out of the TL, and then the rejection, quick rejection right back down. So far looking really good. I love that rejection sign. Overall, we're waiting for price to break below support, and then I will look for continuation to the downside on EURGBP. So that's definitely something to watch out for, everyone. So on oil, we were looking for a continuation to the downside. I did get stopped out of this pair for about 65 pips. We were looking to target these lows here. My stop loss was around this region here, just right above this this high zone here. So I didn't want to see price break back above it, because if it broke back above it, then it would break out of this region. I would see further upside. So this is exactly what happened. So just a kind of a little tight stop loss on here, and we're looking for that continuation to the downside. So we did take a loss on this pair. Right now we are at another key level as far as for a resistance. So we'll see how price reacts in this region. And I might look to maybe sell this back down. It just depends on how price reacts in this range. If we get some nice rejection, I see price start to do something like this here in this range, then I'll probably, once it gets back below this support here, now first we want to see it consolidate, right? So wait for it to consolidate first, maybe even on a lower time frame, show you some kind of reversal pattern, maybe a double top, head and shoulders pattern, some kind of little reversal pattern in this range, and then we can wait for a clear break of its support, and then we'll take the sales back to the downside, targeting this as the first target, and overall target 2 would be just right before we reach this zone, and target 3 would be those previous lows. So let's watch how price reacts at this resistance. Of course, this would be the high that would invalidate this. If price broke above this high and closed above this high, now that's another key thing, it needs to close. If it closes above this high, then to me that would invalidate any potential downside. But again, we're not taking this trade unless we see that consolidation and that reversal start. Okay, so be patient on this pair on oil and see what it does. Overall, it's not something that I'm personally mainly focused on, just something that I'm watching to see how things turn out for the remainder of the week on it. So CHFJPY, just a quick little update on this one. This one's pretty much done for us. We were looking at the retracement from the beginning of the week to the upside. We actually had a trade indication on here. I actually took it off because it already hit TP. But this pair tapped very beautifully and then rejected down. And I think it got us around, let's see, I know it's over 50 pips. So it got us somewhere around between, I would say, 60 and 65 pips for TP here. It looks like right now she might be doing a little bit of a reversal. Me personally, I still want to see it fully retest this TL before any chances of a reversal. But then again, if price does break back above this daily support, which is now resistance at 108 flat, then we could see that continuation back to the upside. I won't be looking at any further trades on this pair, just kind of watching it to see what happens for the remainder of the week. Next pair that we'll go over is EURJPY. It's kind of the last thing that I'm looking at. So for this pair, we definitely got a beautiful opportunity on this pair. Pretty much no drawdown. We entered this pair yesterday, and it just melted. It literally just melted. We actually took profit right around here, around 74 pips, and then it made this huge pullback, and then it's kind of just been consolidating since. So most of us are out of this trade as far as for our premium members, unless they're deciding to trade on their own, and then they're just letting it do what it do and just kind of following the full indication. Me personally, I'm waiting for maybe another retest here. Okay, so it's pretty much in the range now. Okay, so overall, just watching to see how it reacts at this 50 and these highs, and then we might actually see another bounce off of this support, which is now resistance, back to the downside to continue to completely fulfill this target here that I have on the chart. So that's EURJPY. I do long-term think it could potentially see new lows, but we're actually trying to take profit right before it gets to those lows. So just in case it might double bottom on the daily or something and then head back up, I want to make sure we're safely able to exit this trade. So that's EURJPY, guys. Those are all of the trades that I'm looking at this week. Just kind of taking it easy. Again, we have FOMC this week, which is going to be tomorrow on Wednesday. So be mindful of that. Make sure you guys are trading safely. Just to quickly review those pairs that we went over today. USDCAD, we're looking for further downside. So far, she's looking really nicely. Once we get around to this range, I will be moving my stop loss to entry. USDCHF, this definitely has all of my eyes for this week. Some of my main attention for the remainder of the week. Very nice trade opportunity of 5-to-1 here. Only about 43 pips stop loss, and we're looking at about 225 pips for a TP. So this pair looks very beautiful from the higher time frame down. So definitely watching this for that one more pop to the upside, and I'll be taking this to the downside. EURGBP, we're waiting for a break of this counter trend line out of this rising wedge and to break this support, and we'll look to trade this to the downside. As always, guys, with any of my setups, I kind of leave them open for you guys to also add your own analysis to them. So if you are aware and know how to trade, you guys can always break down these charts even more to find your own targets on the way down. So for this, for example, you guys, I haven't marked targets on here specifically, but you guys can definitely, look for Fibonacci levels, support and resistance levels, and other different levels or confirmations that you potentially use to find targets on the way down. Don't just target this level, break this down, okay? Break this down into threes, or break it down into fours, however you trade, whatever your style, break it down, okay? Make multiple targets throughout this and all of the key levels that you think price will react on its way down, where we could potentially see maybe a reversal back to the upside. Make sure you're breaking this down as well for the charts that I don't give the full breakdowns. Some charts I don't give the full breakdown, so it would mean that you would need to add, a little bit of your twist onto it to find certain things like TPs. Overall, I give you guys the direction and the target area, okay? So just watch out for those key things, and you guys will know the direction and where it's going, so you can kind of break it down and have fun with it throughout. US oil, we're looking to see if price respects this range and pops back below support here. You guys look on the lower time frame, you'll be able to see that support, and we can see ultimately the main support was here as far as when we impulsed in these highs. So this would really confirm it, but I'm actually looking to potentially maybe find an entry here. So that's kind of how I look at these two levels. I'll look to start my entry here, and once it break back below this level, that'll kind of start to really confirm some things. Maybe even move my stop loss to entry once we close below this support. Okay. So that's US oil, guys. Watching out for that pair. CHFJPY, this one's pretty much done. We'll just see how it reacts at this lower TL. We might see a long position here. just to bounce in this range. So you guys can see that we have that first retest, the second retest, third retest, fourth retest, fifth retest. So this is technically good enough for a 6 retest. You usually can get at least 3 to the top, 3 to the bottom before you expect any potential breaks, maybe below or above. Okay. And EURJPY, we're looking at this range here to see how price reacts. It might even pop back up to this TL here and then retrace back to the downside. Me personally, I want to see it retrace from here. We could possibly put a counter trend line if we go to the 15-minute. Okay, so we might have a counter trend line also to kind of watch for to see if price breaks below that TL, and the support is something also to watch out for. So that's EURJPY, guys. I hope all of you have a great rest of your trading week. If you have any questions or concerns, always feel free to send me a message on here, YouTube, or you guys can feel free to email me or shoot me a message on Telegram. Thank all of you guys for tuning in to this week's Forex market forecast, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week, okay?